What's up guys, ArchAngel Manga here, and today I'm bringing you my top 10 favourite Shōnen series. Now these series are just series that I own and obviously that I've read. Some of them I'm still in the process of reading, but I was initially going to do a top 10 favourite manga just of all time. But yeah, by the way, this is Shōnen Manga, not anime. I was initially going to do a top 10 favourite manga, but because I've got so much to choose from, it's really difficult to narrow them down. So I'm going to do a top 10 favourite Shōnen manga list, and then coming up probably next week I'm going to do a top 10 favourite Seinen manga list, because I've got mostly Seinen manga. Like the vast majority of the series that I own are Seinen manga, so there's a lot more stuff to choose from, and you know, the selection process will be a lot more difficult. And I don't really have that much Shōnen manga, so it's easier to do this list and comprise it all. So yeah, let's get started. Starting at number 10, a massive nostalgia trip for me, Dragon Ball Z. Now I'm only counting Z, not the whole Dragon Ball series is in its entirety. I've only ever seen the Dragon Ball anime. I've never actually read the Dragon Ball manga, unfortunately, but Dragon Ball Z, which I guess you could say was like part 2 of just Dragon Ball as a whole, volume 17 to 42, was the first ever manga that I read, and yeah, it'll always remain one of my favourite mangas of all time. Although everything after the Cell saga was pretty rubbish in my opinion. The whole Buu saga, the Great Saiyaman saga, was just really terrible for me. So yeah, Dragon Ball Z, you know, not without its flaws obviously, but still remains one of my all-time favourite series. Next we have Naruto. When I say Naruto, I'm only specifically referring to part 1 of Naruto before the time skip. So not part 2, or you know, Shippuden as it's called in the anime version. Part 1, when Naruto was a kid. Most of the characters get the character development. The Konoha 11, you know, get more, you know, not screen time, but more, you know, more attention and more focus. You know, characters like Neji, Hinata, Kiba, I guess you could say a little bit, Gaara, even though Gaara becomes the Kazekage in Shippuden, but you know, just the whole Sasuke retrieval arc, and the Operation Destroy Konoha with the 3rd Hokage fighting his former masters and everything, you know, just all these great epic moments all happened in Naruto Part 1 for me. So Naruto Part 1 is my number 9 favourite manga of all time. Next we have a very classic series by Osamu Tezuka, Apollo's Song. I was quite surprised to find out that this was actually a shonen, considering how dark it is, but it is a shonen nonetheless. Only 2 volumes. It's a very emotional read, especially considering it's Tezuka. It's one of his early works, I believe. I recently did a review on this a few months back, and yeah, I absolutely love this series. It's just a 2-volume, you know, I love this manga. So yeah, Apollo's Song by Osamu Tezuka, the godfather of manga. Next, a new addition to my favourite manga, one that I'm currently reading right now. I'm currently on volume 11, so you know it must be good if I'm only 11 volumes in and I'm already putting it on my top 10 above Dragon Ball Z, and that is Fullmetal Alchemist at number 7. I really love this series. I'm literally just in the process of reading it right now, so you will expect a review on this once I've finished it. But yeah, like I said, I'm on 11 volumes in. It's a 27-volume long series, and it's the only series, I believe, in the only series in what I'm in, you know, the top 10 list that I haven't actually completed as of yet. I'm in the, you know, the process of reading this. Everything else in the list I'm already either caught up to date with or I've completed the series, barring obviously Dragon Ball, because I never read Dragon Ball. But yeah, Fullmetal Alchemist, the adventures of Edward and Alphonse Elric, the Elric brothers, who are alchemists, Ed being a state alchemist, and basically they try to transmute a human soul, and in the process end up losing, well, Al ends up losing his entire body and Ed loses his arm and his leg, and then Al's soul is bound to a suit of armour, and basically it's just them two trying to, you know, get their original bodies back by finding a legendary stone known as the Philosopher's Stone, which is enables them to amplify their alchemy skills, and it's just absolutely brilliant. Hiromu Arakawa, should I say, is an excellent manga because she's got a very fantastic way of telling a story. And it's not often I see a lot of female mangaka tackling like shonen series. The only other shonen series that I know of that's written by a woman is Magi the Labyrinth of Magic, which is written by Shinobu Otaka, I believe her name is. Yeah, Shinobu Otaka, I've got it right there on my shelf, which is something I really enjoy. But that's the only reason why Magi the Labyrinth of Magic is not in my top 10 is because it's only 3 volumes in so far that have been released. So I can't really, you know, judge it based on its, you know, the first 3 volumes. But Fullmetal Alchemist at number 7. Next, we have a classic. Everybody knows this, Death Note. Yeah, coming in at number 6. I absolutely loved this series, you know, considering it's only 12 volumes long, and for a shonen series, I mean, I know it's obviously a, you know, a dark shonen, something that contains like virtually no action. It's not a battle manga, it's more like a psychological thriller, you know, a battle of wits, a psychological game of cat and mouse between L and Light Yagami. It's just an absolutely brilliant series by the same creators of Bakuman. This was actually the first series they wrote together, I believe. I have the black editions, which collects volumes, 2 volumes in 1, and I absolutely love this series. I haven't read this for quite some years. I'll be watching the anime next just to kind of refresh my love for it. Next, we have a newcomer on the list, and that is Attack on Titan, aka Shingeki no Kyojin. Something I was very skeptical about at first when I started reading the manga, but once I watched the anime, I loved the anime, and then got back into the manga, really loved the manga. I'm now completely up to date with the manga, or at least what's been released in the UK, so, well, in fact, no, I'm not actually. I've only got up to volume 10, volume 11 has just been released this week in the UK, so I'm going to be getting that probably this week, so you see that in my next pickups video, but yeah, surprisingly, this is actually a shonen, despite how dark and violent and gritty it is. I was very surprised. I would have assumed it would have been a seinen, but I suppose censorship and all that, you know, is a lot different from how it is in Japan, you know, and the US and the UK. So I suppose over there they can, you know, get away with what they're showing in this manga because it's so violent, and it really pulls on the heartstrings, and you just know everybody's completely screwed. You know, nobody is safe in this manga. Attack on Titan. Next, coming in at number 4, one of my I don't know what to say about this manga. It's just so good. Bakuman, by obviously the same creators of Death Note. Absolutely no action. You know, everybody seems like, oh, because it's a shonen, it must have action in it. That's not necessarily true. This is a slice of life, I guess you could say, educational manga. Teaches you how to be a mangaka, how manga works behind the scenes. You know, the business side of manga, the excruciating deadlines that, you know, the creators themselves have to adhere to and upkeep, and the amount of work that really goes into creating a manga. Like, once you read this, you can really appreciate the effort and, you know, the blood, sweat and tears that mangakas go through in order to push out the material that they do, and it just made me want to support the industry even more after reading this, because it was just a real great inside look into how manga is created. So yeah, Bakuman, volume 4. Position 4, should I say. And next, something that I guess you could say gets a lot of, I don't want to say it gets a lot of stick or hate, but you know, it is very fast paced. That is Claremore, coming in number 3. I love this purely for the fact that it is actually quite fast paced and it just gets straight to the point. There is like a global conspiracy thing going on this, which I will not reveal, but it is a really good manga. You know, although the main protagonist Claire isn't like, you know, massively, you know, stood out, you know, compared to like her contemporaries and, you know, her peers in like other shonen manga, you know, it's more about team bonding and, you know, the kind of, you know, sisterhood that all these female warriors have between each other, and, you know, the connections that they share, and, you know, it's about bonding, you know, with kick-ass females with giant swords. I absolutely love this series, love it or hate it, but yeah, Claremore at number 3. Number 2, this is a classic series, one that I've been completely late at getting into, because, you know, the Gundam series is huge. Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin. Not only do I love the actual, you know, the treatment that Vertical have given these, but the actual story itself. If these were just in paperback, you know, poor quality paper, then it would still be high in my list because it is a really, really good story, an epic space opera. And like I said, Gundam isn't something I've been particularly used to growing up. So this is introduced me to the world of Gundam, and has gotten me very, very, very inspired, and interested in purchasing more Gundam stuff. Like, I really want to get some Gunpla, some Gundam mobile suit model kits. I'm wanting to get some more of the anime from what I can find. But yeah, this manga is absolutely brilliant. Based off the original Mobile Suit Gundam series that came out in the 70s. I'm currently on volume 4. This is volume 2, Gamma. I'm currently on volume 4, and this is an excellent, excellent manga. With some beautiful artwork and an excellent story. Even though Amuro Ray is an absolute pig-headed, annoying character, it's brilliant because it's written like that, so it's written to be annoying, which I really like. And last but not least, I was kind of disappointed that I would have to put this at number 1 because it's probably in millions of other people's number 1, but I just couldn't resist, and that's One Piece. This is by far, by a milestone, my all-time favourite shonen series. I'm currently on volume 69. I mean, it's so long. I mean, obviously 69 volumes that have been released in the West so far. That's an absolute milestone. Eiichiro Oda is an absolute manga god. He is just like the Leonardo da Vinci of the Renaissance era. He really is a genius, and I think anyway. But yeah, One Piece is definitely my favourite shonen series of all time. I can't ever really see that changing, considering that One Piece is far from over. There's a good solid 8, 9 or 10, even 10 years to go until this series finishes. I never thought I'd really like it at first because pirates and goofy abilities had never really been my kind of thing. But once I got onto volume 1, once I finished it, I was instantly hooked. Usually people get hooked on One Piece after like maybe volume 11 or 12 when they finally get to the Grand Line. But I was hooked with volume 1, so I'm a true fan, and I just absolutely love this series. It's just absolutely excellent. Not only do you have excellent character development from characters individually, but you have brilliant bonds that they make between each other. So the crew as a whole, the Straw Hat crew as a whole develops as well as them individually, and that's why I love One Piece, because it's excellent with world building, character development, plot drive. People complain sometimes about the slow pace, but if the pace wasn't as as steady and slow as it is, then it wouldn't be able to map out all these different plot elements and all this world building and all that. It just skip past all of that. So that's why I love One Piece, because it doesn't cut any corners with storytelling. It gets to everything slowly maybe, but when it gets there, it really hits them spots, and it definitely will go down as just one of the greatest shonen mangas of all time. So yeah, that has been my top 10 favourite shonen manga. There probably could have been a lot more in there, but obviously I don't own that many shonen manga, so tell me your top 10, guys. Tell me anything that you think I should read shonen wise. I know there's a few things that I haven't read, like Rurouni Kenshin, and just a few other classic shonen series that I'm probably missing out on. So yeah, stay tuned next week for my top 10 seinen manga series. Until then,